team. He announced the squad for the upcoming 2 qualifier games against Greece away and Gibraltar at home. Now, this is an extended squad, so I presume it will be reduced to the match day squad and nearer to the matches, we'll say. But just a quick look at it. We go through it again. 3 goalkeepers again, which is normally. So we have Bazzuno, Kelleher, and Travers. So, in your opinion, is that half of the course?
Yeah, I think so, Paul. The main worry I have, though, is that Gavin Bazzuno has actually lost his place at Southampton there before the end of the season. I think he didn't play the last possibly 5 or 6 games in the league before it finished up. And Caoimhín Kelleher, Stephen Kenny has said himself, he has to leave Liverpool. He's not going to get in ahead of Alisson. He's only going to be playing cup games, maybe Europa League games. And Mark Travers is actually lost his place very early in the season with Bournemouth. And I think even Darren Randolph is there as well. So there were 2 Irish keepers there, that club, and 2 and 3. So at the moment, there's no actual Irish keeper of those 3 playing week in, week out before the end of the season. So that would be a concern. I don't think, even when Bazzuno was playing with Southampton, I think I might have mentioned to you before.
Yeah.
He's now obviously finished bottom of the league. He's probably facing more shots than anybody else. But I just wasn't convinced. It wasn't convincing by him. And even with the goal against France that we conceded, I know obviously a mistake by Josh Cullen for playing it out from the back and a very poor ball out from defence. But I felt Bazzuno could have got a hand to it. I don't, maybe not, people might feel it's a little bit harsh, but I just wasn't convinced by him in this season. Having said that, he'll learn from the experience. He'll get better as time goes by. He's still a young keeper, so there's still a lot of hope from him. Yes.
And of course, they always say, sorry for cutting across you, that goalkeepers, they reach their peak maybe a little bit older than outfield players, they always say.
Oh yeah, that's it. He's still a very young keeper. I mean, I think he's only 19, 20. I think he's only around that age, so he's a very young keeper. He's still a lot to learn, and he will probably get a run on the side again now in the Championship with Southampton, and hopefully he'll learn from it and bounce back up again next season. But as I said, with Kelleher, I do believe he can be a very good keeper. But for his Irish career and for his own career in general, I think he really needs to get out of Liverpool. I mean, he just can't be he can't be a bench warmer now for Liverpool next season. I think he has to be playing week in, week out. There's talk maybe that he might go to Brentford if David Raya leaves Brentford. Whether that's true or not, whether that might happen or not, I don't know. But there was rumours about it. But I think for his own sake and for his own career, and certainly for Ireland, I do think he needs to be playing week in, week out.
Yeah. Okay, now we now look at the defenders, and there's 9 defenders named there. Again, look, I said it is an extended squad, so I presume he has to name players like that. So what are your just general thoughts on that?
Yeah, a little bit concerned, Paul, that some of them defenders now haven't been playing. I suppose it's this common team with Irish players that aren't playing week in, week out for their clubs. Some are, like John Egan now, I think, if I'm not mistaken, he's captain of Sheffield United, and
they got promoted in the division.
They did, yeah. They finished second, so that's a boost. Darrell Lennon, I think, may be captain with Middlesbrough. They were unlucky enough to lose out in the playoff semi-finals. Darrell O'Shea, he was injured for most of the season at the start, but he came back and was playing well for West Brom. James McLean got relegated with Wigan, but he was their best player of the season. He got their player of the season at Wigan. Matt Doherty, he went to Atletico Madrid initially for a loan, but then Tottenham found out they had too many players on that they had to release him, and then he got released, and Atletico Madrid signed him up from January, I think, till June this month. So I think his contract is ran out. So I don't think it's going to be extended by the looks. So he's going to be looking for a new club. And for the majority of the time that he was there, he wasn't playing either. So it was a good experience for him getting out to play in Spain, but he's looking for a new club now, and in match fitness now is going to be a key issue for him because he hasn't been playing recently. Leighton Collins is another man. He actually started the season really well with Wolves, but he lost his place when Lopetegui came in. He lost his place in the centre of defence. So it is a concern at the back, but I do believe we have enough quality, enough in there in the defence. I think that's probably one of our strongest areas. I think even though, yes, they aren't playing many minutes at club level, but when they play together, I do feel there's a good combination there. I think John Egan and Darragh O'Shea, for example, and Nathan Collins, that there might be a good back three. Obviously, Seamus Coleman is injured. He he got injured there against, I think was it against Leicester City, so he's on the road to recovery. But yeah, and Liam Scales there is a good player. I think he plays for Aberdeen. He was signed by Celtic and he's on loan Aberdeen now. So if he manages to stay in the squad and doesn't get injured, it'll be good to see what he can do. Callum O'Dowd is a good player on the wing. He'd be more of a wing back rather than the left back. So I'd be interested to see how he gets on. But
yeah, no, just a question for you, and kind of a two-part question. You talk about the players at the clubs will say who are not getting first team. Is there such years ago there was a reserve league that if you weren't on the first team you were getting regular games in this reserve league? I wonder, does that still take place at the Premiership? And secondly, if they're on these clubs in the Premiership and they're not making the starting team or not making the squad, should they maybe even consider maybe taking a loan, moving down a division? Like years ago, it was a well-known thing. You even go back to Ferguson and Manchester United when the younger players were coming through. They were usually sent down to Preston in the Championship or some one of the other clubs where Manchester United had kind of a contact for maybe 6 months or for a year just to improve them with this. So is that a possibility, or what are your thoughts on that?
Well, to answer your first part, I think there is a reserve league, but I don't know, does it get coverage or something like that? To be honest with you, Paul, I don't really know, to be honest. As for the second part, the trouble is, Paul, a lot of those defenders that we see there on the graphic are actually playing in the Championship. The only ones that aren't playing, as you said yourself, are the ones that play in the Premiership. Like Matt Doherty was at Spurs, but he wasn't getting his games, so he left. But then he ended up not getting his games at Atletico Madrid anyway.
So even the ones in the Championship are not even are strong. And of course, the reason for that is that, like the Premiership and the Championship now, they're picking players from all over Europe and even all over the world, even down in the Championship, they're doing that.
Well, that's just now. Callum O'Dowd, no, John Egan was a regular, and Darragh O'Shea pretty much is a regular as well. James McLean he was playing with Wigan in the Championship, but he's got relegated now. I don't know is he going, but it sounds like he's not going to probably stay there. But if he does, he's going to be back down to League One. So the ones in the Championship, to be fair, are probably getting more minutes than the Premier League players. But it's at the Premier League, they need to think now. Do they need to, like you said, maybe get a loan out or leave the Premier League, go down to the Championship? But it wouldn't be a great sign, though, Paul, if we had, like, majority of our players are, let's face it, are Championship players, really.
Yeah.
There's only Gavin Bazzuno there, Quaven Keller's there because I think he plays for Liverpool. Mark Travers. They're all Premier League goalkeepers, but none of them are starting.
Yeah.
That's the trouble. You look through the midfielder. Josh Cullen is going to be in the Premier League with Burnley next year. Jason Lumby is with West Brom. Jeff Hendrick, I believe, is still with Reading. And Brown is Preston North End. Smallbone is Stoke, if I'm not mistaken. Jason Knight is Derby. Derby's in League One. Jamie Gray, I think, is based in Scotland, and Jack Taylor is with Peterborough in League One as well. So that's our squad. That's what Stephen Kenny has to work with. I mean, the manager can only be good with the players he has, and at the moment.
So no, sign off for cutting across. You will just run out of time there. Just you mentioned the midfield players there. Is there anyone? Are you happy with that? Team 8 players in midfield that in this extended squad?
Yeah, I think it's okay. I think it's the best that we have at the moment, Paul, to be quite honest with you. There might be one or two that might be unlucky to lose out, maybe because of being injury. There's a player that was on loan from Everton. He was in Preston, but I think he was more. It was actually forward Tom Cannon. I think was his name.
Oh yes.
Yeah, there's another player there for Wolves called Hodge, but he hasn't been getting games either. He is a young talent though. He was very good at underage, but he needs games as well. So I think, to be fair to now Jeff Hendrick, to be fair, I think like James McLean, I mean, this has to be the last hurrah. I mean, I think Jeff Hendrick gets a lot of criticism. But to be fair, I do.
Oh, and I'm one of the main people who criticise him. And today and yesterday.
Yeah, I do think now that we need to move on from him. Because not that look, he keeps turning up. He wants to play. That's fair enough. But I do think and I do think now that we need to move on from the likes of Jeff Hendrick. There was a player there, Conor Horan, he's not. I know he's injured, but there are players there now that they need to be moved on. We need to get younger players in. We need to get better players in. To be quite honest with you, into that squad, and I think I need to see more from him. Like, if there's a time to save his international career, is now, because many people just think that he's been there too long.
Yeah, and all
Okay,
again. So I know for the forwards there, the 5 forwards named in the panel is Ferguson. Is he the big rising star in your opinion?
definitely, Paul. I mean, he's the only player that when the English are talking about it, that means that means he's a good prospect because no Irish player has got the profile that Evan Ferguson has for a long, long time. And he is a class above. I mean, he's by far the best player, the most well-known player that is in the Irish squad. We're very lucky to have him. There was talk that English were sniffing out because his mother is English, and we could have had another Jack Grealish, Declan Rice fiasco.
Surely
But
not, no, surely not.
but no, Evan, to be fair, was born in Ireland. He's been reared in Ireland. He's played all his football. He played for Bohemians before he went over to England. I think he's made his senior debut at 14. So he was a young talent that was spotted very early, and we're glad to have him. But he was asked in an interview, would you declare for England? He says, no way. But I think it was the big ignorance of the English media in because he had already played a competitive international anyway for Ireland. So there was no decision to be made. But he said, no, I'm staying with Ireland.
And sorry, no, for cutting across you there, is that Mikey Johnson? Is he playing aside in Spain, or am I wrong with that? Or?
He was a Celtic player. He was on loan in Portugal, the club in Portugal.
Yeah, but he's a Celtic player, double.
He's a Celtic player. I honestly don't know what his future holds for him. I don't know whether he's going to stay at Celtic. Maybe he might go to the Championship, or maybe he might stay in Portugal. But yeah, he was one of those players, Paul, that has a bit of. He's a quick feet. I think we haven't had a player like him, to be honest, but that can take a player on. Take a player on, get a good cross. We don't really have those skillful players really to cut us. A player that can, like we say, Jack in the box maybe type of players you might say.
Yeah, and you always want a player like that. You always want someone like that.
But just something different, like Paul, because when he came on against, I know it was why he left here, but to be fair, it was his competitive debut. You couldn't do it.
Yeah,
but he made a difference. I think he hit the post, and I think Benny hit the rebound in. But he was very, very unlucky not to get a goal in that game, and I think he added a bit of energy. In the game against France as well. So he'd be someone that you would hope that he would get a run in the team. Maybe start against Gibraltar, because let's face it, we should be beating Gibraltar. I think against Greece, if we really want to be competitive in the group, we have to win it. We have to win. Dare not lose, No,
before this only just a preliminary look at it. We'll be looking at closer again next week with that. But just a general comment. If you go back in the day, and this applies not alone to the Republic of Ireland, but to Northern Ireland and to Wales and to Scotland. You go back maybe 20 or 30 years ago before the Premiership, the top, which is the old First Division in England, the equivalent to the Premiership, all the teams were full of players from Wales, Scotland, and the Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland. I go back to the late 70s. Arsenal were always in the top 5 or 6. Had 6 players on their starting team from the island of Ireland, 3 from the Republic and 3 from Northern Ireland. But that has all changed now with the Premiership. They're picking players not around Europe, but all over the world. So is that affecting not only the Republic of Ireland, Northern Ireland, but also Scotland and Wales, that the players are not playing the top teams who are contesting for titles and for cups and how to win things? Is that affecting the Republic of Ireland?
Well, of course it is, Paul, because the Premier League is just mopping up all the talent from Africa, South America. They're getting even a few Americans in as well. So the Premier League is just cast the net massively now, and they're just any player that has any good potential, young players. The smaller clubs, like not disrespect the clubs down below in the
club with the list of resources. That's a better way of
putting it. Like the team. Yeah, that's the thank you. Like club like Brighton now. Look at the players that they've managed to get.
Yeah,
some from South America, Japan.
Yeah,
they I think there's a Colombian and a few Argentinian players in there as well.
Yeah,
it's amazing what they've done. Now they'll develop those players. They spotted them. Fair play to them. Their scouting deserves a great credit, and then they'll sell them out for big money. So it's massive. But also one thing, Paul, that we need to look out is that the avenue. If a young player, what's happening now in Ireland is some players have left League of Ireland, have gone out to Italy. There's I can't pronounce his name, but there's a couple of players that went from St. Patrick's Athletic, one from Derby out to Udinese in Italy.
Right.
So Irish players now, I think, because of the whole Brexit thing, I don't think Irish players can go over to England and sign a contract until there was something like 18. I'm not sure on the technicalities on it. But young Irish players now under 18 are starting to go to places like Spain and Italy now, to casting it more European wide.
Yeah.
So I think that's something the Irish players are going to have to do. I think they should be not afraid to do it, because we can't always rely on England to develop our players, Paul.
Yeah.
So I think we need to go further afield and get games, and then if they're good enough, they might come back to the Premier League for bigger money,
Yeah.
or they